Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way to get up in the morning than to get up with Garret.
Hey, Dougie Bricks.
How are you?
Good to see you, buddy.
You too.
Wow.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
The sun is shining. Feeling grateful, thankful. It's good to be alive.
Absolutely.
And did you say 3 I'm sorries this morning? Because that's what I taught you. When you get married, the first thing you want to do every morning, friends, is say 3 I'm sorries. For what, I have no idea. But that is my best advice for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The man is married.
Yes.
He's off, another bachelor off the market.
Yes. I said 4.
You said 4.
Started off strong.
Wow. Good to see you. I hope all your dreams come true with your new family. And it's very, very exciting times. And you may notice that we actually have a special in studio guest today, our good friend David Lenter from Game Day Tailgate Experience. My audio is coming a little in and out. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you
okay.
right.
It's just my headphone jack then.
All right.
My new fancy headphones. So we'll be touching in and touching base all show with our good friend David here, who's sitting next to Doug.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start out by wishing everyone a happy Veterans Day. You know, today is an incredible day to remember and think about all of our veterans and everyone who has made sacrifices for our country, including, I hope you have a photo.
Yes, I do.
Of my own grandfather, Murray Bedrin, who landed on the beaches of Normandy in World War II and won 2 Purple Hearts, and obviously came back safe and sound, was able to start what became Allied Off Supplies. I think it started at Murray's Gift Gallery. And I always talk about, you know, our family is an entrepreneur family, and we're blessed. And really somebody gave him a shot. And that's why all the businesses that we're investing in with Salons by JC and the different shopping centers, we feel so strong about giving other entrepreneurs a shot to go for it. So thinking about my grandfather today, and your grandparents and your family and the sacrifices that were made. So we can't ignore that. Without that, we don't have the freedoms that we enjoy today. Dougie, talking about freedom, and I know it's kind of a controversial topic, but I'm going to just be very open, honest, and say my kids got vaccinated yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They were absolutely thrilled about that and excited. They've been hearing about it on the news and hearing about the older kids, and of course, seeing their parents get vaccinated. And, you know, the sacrifices that our kids have made over the past 2 years, wearing masks everywhere they go and going to school and having school from home, missing out on some of the wonderful things that, you know, that they've enjoyed. They looked at this as just an incredible thing to do, not just for themselves, but also for humanity, for their friends, for everybody. So super proud of Juliet and Harper taking the plunge and going for it. And they woke up, they said their arms are fine. They don't, there's no pain, no issue, no side effects. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking about it, all I can tell you is my kids are totally fine and they feel great about it. I'm still having a little trouble on the headphone part. I'm coming a lot in and out.
All right.
So if you can, I don't know, get the left-handed screwdriver, Connor, and maybe tighten that up for me, please, or something. But, you know, we're live and we're rocking and we're rolling. Yeah. I mean, it's good now.
Good now?
Yep.
All right.
So it's been a couple weeks. We took last week off. Dougie got married, and it's, you know, we took some time off from the show. So we've missed a lot in the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fun things that we celebrated was Halloween.
Yep.
And as you know, I'm a big fan of the favorite show, Ted Lasso, we've been talking about.
Yep.
So I always say, hey, put your money where your mouth is. And for Halloween, I did dress up as Ted Lasso, which probably was something that a lot of people did. I don't think it was a
great costume.
So I know you have a little clip you can play real quick and kind of show some of the highlights from the Halloween party that we went to. You tell me when you're ready.
We're playing.
Let it ride. Doesn't have any music, unfortunately. But there you go. And of course, Jessica, my tag team partner, came as the boss. So she actually baked biscuits for the party.
Biscuits for the boss.
Biscuits for the boss. She's got the great little box there of biscuits and gave them out. And everybody loved the costume. There were a couple other Ted Lassos floating around I saw.
Oh, yeah?
But none of them had biscuits with the boss. And none of them said football is life. What were you for Halloween? Did you partake this year, Dougie?
No, it was a busy time.
Or were you just a bachelor?
Just a bachelor. Just a bachelor.
You were a ball and chain. So you were finishing up the wedding prep and everything?
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
No Halloween festivities this year.
Awesome. So the other thing that's real exciting, we've started to kick off our Ramsey, New Jersey Salons by JC. This will be our third location
Mm-hmm.
in northern New Jersey. We had announced it probably 6-7 months ago, and you know how things are in New Jersey. It takes time with plans and permits and boards and approvals, etc. But we have started the construction process. They're in there this week, and they've actually outlined kind of the floor. So what I want to do is maybe kind of show you what's going on now. Yep. So that's the first step. What we do is spray paint the actual outline of the suite, so you can kind of see where they're going to be located. A few of them are on the window, a few of them obviously towards the back and more the quiet areas. So if you want, Dougie, can you bring up the big layout that shows kind of all 44 suites or 43 suites? That'll really kind of help. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing different. Perfect. So I know this may look a little small if you're watching on your phone, but if you watch the show back on YouTube, you get a much better view of this. This is a 10,000 square foot salon. So this is the biggest salon that we've ever done,
Wow.
certainly in New Jersey. And it's located at a great shopping center right on Route 17 in Ramsey. You've got Kohl's, you've got Duluth Trading, you've got Aldi, Panera Bread, Massage Envy, and some other great retailers. We're right next to Staples. It used to be a Tuesday morning store, which is funny because they're actually a tenant of mine in Greensboro. So shout out to my friends at Tuesday Morning. We still love you, but we appreciate that we can take over the space. So this location has a couple new features. You'll see there's some very large suites. So these are meant for 3 professionals that can actually legally work together in the room, or they can build a business together and have 5 or 6 people on the LLC, and they could alternate days and actually open their own salon business inside our facility and keep an entire team together. So we've added a few of those doubles and triples. In the bottom part, kind of where it kind of is like a dogtail almost down there, that's our new spa and quiet area. So what we've done is taken some of the non-hair users. So our skincare specialists, estheticians, waxing specialists, lash artists, we even have a Botox doctor in Wyckoff. Permanent makeup is very popular now, where a lot of people are getting their eyebrows kind of tattooed and their lips and their eyeliner in a permanent tattoo. So we're taking those uses and we're saying, let's give you a more of a private spa feeling in this back corner. And they have their own private waiting area, their own restroom, their own private laundry. So we don't mix the kind of sheets with the hair of the towels. And I think there's 8 or 9 rooms back there that are reserved for, again, non-hair uses. So that's exciting. Do you have the new renderings of the design look? I know I had sent you that earlier. There's a couple photos. I want to highlight some of the...
Is there one in particular, one first?
Maybe...
The lobby?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. The entrance lobby. Yeah. So here, when the customer were to come in and visit Salons by JC, they're going to be blown away by a beautiful marble kind of waterfall style lobby. And we've got an upgraded new desk. This is brand new. I just got permission to even share this morning. No one's done this yet. We'll be the first to probably have this, certainly in New Jersey.
Now you have, as you see in the blueprint, you have a lot of stylists in there.
We do.
So when you come into the lobby, is there going to be a receptionist there to like match you up with who they think would work best with you? Is that how it works?
Absolutely. No, that's the difference maker in the Salons by JC brand. We're the only company of the national brands that hires a full-time concierge to actually meet and greet your customers. So you're not going to be approached by someone trying to sell you insurance or hand in a Chinese food takeout menu, because we're going to have a gatekeeper there. So if a potential new customer were to walk in and kind of be thinking about getting their hair done or their eyelashes, they can consult with our concierge and she can show them a few different business cards. And on one of our future shows, I want to bring in a company called Up Show, who has made an incredible video board presentation for our stylists that we now are subscribing to. And so when you walk in, and you're not going to see it in these photos, there's a 42-inch or 50-inch or 60-inch TV that is rotating all the work of our professionals so they can show off what we offer. And the coolest thing is the customers, and this is coming soon, it's not today, but the customers will be able to hashtag Salons by JC.
That's cool.
And their photos of how they look will show up on the TV.
That's
of course,
cool.
If they want to do, they don't have to do that if they don't feel comfortable. So we're really trying to share everyone's work, and you can run QR campaigns and help them book as well. So great question, Dougie, about the concierge. Another photo we can show maybe is like the break room area, kind of a big open area with the couches.
This one.
Let's see what we're looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. So this is our co-working lounge, and we have a variation of this in both Wyckoff and Paramus, but this particular one is kind of a new design. It's got a really cool kind of slat and light feature up in the sky, and it's got some other kind of really neat new co-working tables that kind of match that front desk, and it's got built-in charging stations. So really trying to be an open experience for both our customers and our professionals. Typically at a salon, the break area is like an afterthought. It's the smallest little room in the corner. Nobody invested money in it. Nobody cares about it. And our professionals are on their feet all day. They're busting their ass. They're working hard. Their feet kill. They need a place to sit where they can like kick back, work on their social media, have lunch, look at their calendar, catch up with their family, and it should be nice.
Yeah.
I feel really strong about that. So
and it's good they don't have to use up space in their own suite to put a couch or a futon, if you will.
Exactly. And they may want to break from their client. That's okay too. That's okay too. So I think was there one more
you got
photo?
One more if you want to throw
surprise
it up
me. What do we got? I forgot. I already forgot what it was.
We got the hallway and the bathrooms.
Okay. There you go. So the bathrooms are incredible, super chic. I feel like I'm at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas. Just a really cool backlit mirror, a very cool, new tile glass. You've got the toilet stations kind of go up to the ceiling with sheetrock and beautiful tile and a stylish wallpaper. So I think that's really neat. And then the hallways, we're lighting them up a little bit. You've got a lighter floor color. The door is a little more modern, same type of beautiful barn door, a gorgeous, gorgeous product, just lightening it up a little bit. And so that's kind of the typical hallway there with beautiful artwork. So I think we've covered that, and we're expecting this to open in the spring.
Nice.
So if anybody is watching and has a friend or is a professional, whether it's in the hair, waxing, skincare, nails, makeup, feel free to reach out to us, whether it's through the show or through me personally, or you can certainly follow Salons by JC Northern New Jersey on Instagram. And we are taking deposits basically right now to reserve your spot in line. So it's a refundable deposit. It's $199, not a big deal. And that way you'll be one of the first when the framing is up to come pick out your suite in person, and you'll have a chance to try on a different, walk in a few different options and pick that out.
So we do want to remind you, if you do ever have any questions, to please message them to getupwithgarret@gmail.com. There you go. Yeah,
there
like
it
that,
is.
right?
Look at that. I like that.
Also, we want to remind you guys that this episode is live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the comments section. We actually have a couple ones that I'm gonna rapid fire for you.
Here we
go. So Jeffrey Krentzman, our friend Jeff Krentzman, says loves the new headphones. Jordan says, way to go to Juliet and Harper for getting their shots. And that's pretty much, and Jeffrey also started Ted Lasso per your recommendation.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And do you think Jeffrey would notice my new headphones if I didn't mention I had trouble with them? Is he that astute?
Maybe he's giving you a little jab for the new headphones. I don't know. They look good.
They sound incredible.
Nice.
I mean, it's just incredible. So if you have nothing else, Dougie, I would like to get to our special guest today in studio. We have a great friend, great family friend, and friend of the show, great supporter, David Lenter from Game Day Tailgate Experience. And David, welcome to the Get Up With Garret show. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you for having me.
Really good to see. There's David's Instagram. Do we have that right, David? It says GTE
oh,
Presents.
Yeah, we got it.
So good. If you want to connect with David during the show, after the show, that's the best way too. So David, I want you to tell us, let's start out. Let's talk a little bit about your bread and butter. Tell us about Game Day.
Yeah.
Tell us about what it is that you offer and what makes it special.
Yeah. Happy to get into that. Just taking one quick step back. First of all, congratulations, Doug. Didn't know you were married in our pre-talk. So welcome to the tribe. It's awesome. And then, Garrett, I know you touched on a lot of stuff with your business, which we'll talk about later, and we'll get into GT. Just, I do think it's also important, right? You're talking about people getting vaccines and COVID, just always looking at it from somebody else's lens and kind of appreciating what you have, right? And how the kids actually probably struggle more than we did. And taking that step back and really thinking about how other people struggle with it a lot more than we did. So just wanted to touch on that. Typically I do that at the beginning and the end, but on Game Day Tailgate, started a company 5 years ago. Actually, even another step back, was an entrepreneur since I was 22, started my parking business, which kind of led me into GT, which I know you wanted to talk about, and did a kind of commercial real estate leasing and owning parking lots in Newark, New Jersey. Did that for about 6 years, still own and lease a lot of property there, and always kind of saw this unique opportunity, especially outside Giant Stadium, to kind of consolidate all these tailgaters into one exclusive space, right? Where it's kind of like an all-you-can-eat, open bar, all-inclusive, celebrity-hosted entertainment that's just not been done before to a certain scale. And some called it a passion project back then, and now I love it, right? Like, I think there are a lot of things about it that I've learned, and there's definitely struggles with everything being an entrepreneur, right, as you know, but it's been great. And this year we've come back pretty nicely from COVID, where we have a partnership down in Florida, and it's been great. And every day you kind of learn something new, and I think I know we're going to touch on it, but when you have failures, it's how you kind of rebound and adjust and get back. And we've been through some ups and downs, but it's been great. And 5 years in the running, where I love what I do.
That's great. So, okay. So let's break it down.
Sure.
Is this a specific event that you're selling tickets to, right? So let's take us through the event management part. I've done this from my background in sport management at UMass. I mean, how could I forget where I went to college? I didn't forget. It was like a pause, where we ran a big basketball 3-on-3 tournament called Hagus Hoopa. It was huge. So tell me, what exactly are you doing? Are you renting a parking lot from, let's say, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or are you renting a parking lot from, something outside the stadium, and then you're bringing in other corporate sponsors in the liquor world and in the party world, and then you're selling, and of course hospitality, food, and then are you actually selling tickets to people for how much money? And they're coming together and having a party before a big college football game, NFL game. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the real estate angle we were talking about, right? So we're essentially either, granted property from the NFL team, like with their on-site owned property, right? It's about typically an acre of land. Now we're actually leasing private land, right? So that's kind of, again, the real estate aspect there. Reason we do that is kind of twofold. We're not kind of pigeonholed to the corporate sponsors that the NFL team has, right? So if I'm Jacksonville or the Miami Hurricanes and I'm part of a Coors Light, I can't go bring in Bud Light because that'll,
if they're serving Coors Light in the stadium, you can't then bring a sponsor Bud Light in the parking lot.
Because it's owned property, right? So by
across the street, though, you could do that.
Partnering with the team and leasing, private space, I can kind of do whatever I want, and that's kind of our bread and butter, is the sponsorship kind of, that revenue silo there. So we'll lease about an acre of land, and I'll bring in sponsors from Diageo, Bud Light, Cutwater, to local real estate and law firms and stuff like that, where they'll kind of get that event activation. And I wish I sent you guys some photos in advance of this, but we'll get that out there. But we got about 41 partners this year, which has been awesome. Cutwater and a lot of new brands to the marketplace, especially on the liquor side, where it's open bar, especially down south, where we're going to run through some consumption, stuff like that. So it's been great. And, it took me a couple of years to realize that obviously you want close proximity to the stadium, where, it's walkable and it's not easy to find. So we kind of do some survey and analytics to figure out what stadiums, A, have, the liquor laws that are appetizing for my users, and then B, where we could lease private land. Because if I had to go back to the team and go through all the hoops to get my brands there, it's impossible. So, and then on the ticket side, we'll sell, which is pretty, desirable, for about $60. We'll sell a ticket to hang out with the celebrities, take pictures, eat as much food as you want, the full open bar, which is liquor included. So I think it's a pretty desirable.
So $60.
That's a steal.
Oh my God!
Can we do one here in our parking lot?
I thought this could be $600.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, in New York, Jersey's a little different. You're probably looking at over 100, but liquor laws actually don't even allow for open bar here. But I mean, it's the scale and the volume is what's key right there, Garrett. Obviously the sponsors want to see volume, right?
Sure.
If there's 100 people, of course, Light's not going to get the full value component of what they're paying me. So I think getting 1,000 people at 60 is a little trickier than getting 100 at the 200.
Of course, of course. So this is so when you're pleasing the sponsors, are you expecting to make a huge profit from the ticket sales, or are you really focused on, we've got to get volume for the sponsors, and the sponsors have the bigger basket of money to
I mean, they do, right? I think my goal this year, obviously post-COVID, with kind of 1 year hiatus from event activation, was getting as many sponsors up as possible that I can go for renewals and maybe a little better market deals in 22. So obviously we've scaled that pretty nicely. Could they be paying me more money? I mean,
but they need you.
sure.
I mean, how do they set up an activation? I mean, they're too big.
Right.
You're that grassroots man on the ground, right?
Yeah.
This is, I kind of think of it that way. They love this type of thing,
right?
Because they're big kind of organization, they're big structures. It's just impossible to get in. They're doing the huge events,
right?
But really, where the magic happens, I feel, is on the ground when people are interacting and talking to each other.
And they probably don't have a lot of liability. It's all on you, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. There's still, I guess, a little bit, especially with the alcohol guys. But think about it. We brought 4 brands to market through Arcader, right? And they're essentially have the license to buy all the alcohol, not us. And what's so unique there is they weren't even in state for product acquisition, which is like a legal thing that we can't have them there and purchase just based on shipping. So think about four new brands that are kind of leveraging us from an event activation, getting in front of the users and consumers, which is awesome. And now they're in state, retail and running through some sort of product acquisition at Publix or Walmart or whatever it is. So we try to over deliver to these guys, and hopefully that pays off in the end. So
Doug, can you maybe look up while we're chatting the next few minutes, maybe his website we can share, or Instagram? Where are some pictures?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can pull up Instagram or our website is gtpresents.com, either one.
As we're talking, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. Instagram might be better for the kind of photo videos, but
let's talk about the kind of food where, like, is this, because when I was growing up, my dad never did tailgating. I didn't know about any of that stuff. We went to the game, we had great seats, of course, but this is kind of new for me now. So what would you say is the core type of food that you have to offer, where obviously it can't be so expensive that you're losing money on it?
Right.
What do people expect in this type of $60, $80, $100
ticket? Yeah. From that side, right? Obviously the sheer volume of what we got to pay to the caterer is going to bring that price point down quite a bit. And they've been wonderful this year. But you're talking about tailgate themed food, right? Hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken, maybe sausage, stuff like that. You want to take that a step up. Like, I don't think we're going to be able to monetize if we go get that high end food. You're probably going to have to charge well over $100 a ticket. And they're not really going to see that just based on ads, right? And that they're going to have to go there and say, oh, the shrimp was wonderful. But we want to make this kind of basic and a volume play and a consumption play for the liquor guys. So you're looking at just basic tailgate theme stuff, the chips, the sodas, and all that stuff.
It's funny. There was a big push, and you can tell me time-wise where, because I know you started this 5 years ago, but I remember the Giants Super Bowl against the Patriots 10 years, well, it was 13 years ago or so, the 2008, that
the 7-1 with the Tyree catch.
Yeah. So that was in Arizona, and a good buddy of mine, Nick Bishop, used to work at the Warriors together. He was working for a company called Quint Events, and he called me up, and he was a big Giant fan. He says, Garrett, you won't believe this, but I don't know, JP Morgan or Pepsi or one of the big companies had a cancellation or something, and he's like, I have 2 tickets in this club section for the Super Bowl. And this was a big number. I mean, these were $5,000 a pop. It's going to be totally transparent. And it came with all the food you can drink and everything like that. And we were literally it was like the 10th row from the field, but it kind of felt like the 5th row, because there was these stations in front of us, like a table filled with food and drinks. And then we went downstairs behind the seats, and there was a huge club underneath, tons of food, luxury porta potties. Before the game, we were in some arena with tons and tons of food. And I was blown away, because that wasn't my experience growing up going to NFL games.
Right.
So I don't know when this all happened, but like, this has become a huge thing. And having a higher end food, and I'm not saying filet mignon. I'm just saying, like, making the experience more than just kind of you in the back of the truck or back of the car. Where do you think it all comes from, and where do you think it all started? I mean, how do we get there where now people want to spend this money and have that experience outside the game?
Well, I think, and I think the NFL is doing just fine, right, with the TV media rights and sponsorship. But, think about what's going to draw you. I mean, you're a big Giants fan, right, as am I. Forget the tailgate aspect and, my affiliation with game day. When the weather turns and the team's not playing well, and you have the ability to watch Red Zone and hang out with the family you don't get to see so much, even as a season ticket holder, right? And you're one of those core loyal Giants fans, right? Out of all of them, it's so corporate now. Do you really want to get up and watch them lose, 33-7 of the Rams or something like that? And at some point, the answer is going to be no, right? So if you don't have that kind of pregame amazing experience that they're not getting with the celebrities and the athletes and the models and the tents, whatever, elsewhere and we have TV showing the early games, you know, it becomes more desirable for a lot of different factors, fantasy football and stuff like that, that you just can't get when you're going to the game. You're kind of missing out on all the NFL action. You're just focused on your team. So there's so many variables that will come into play that will entice you to not go anymore as the season goes on. And that was another kind of, you know, reason why we did this, is to provide something so unique. And then now these sponsors are activating. I mean, it really just the volume of it, the size, it's never been done like this before. And that's why we're trying to focus from what was like a branded traveling tailgate to 4 different cities year one to now just kind of hyper focusing and scaling each market as we go, and now expanding in 22. But yeah, I mean, even as a diehard Giants fan, it's I'm not so inclined to go when I could, you know, kind of do my own thing.
Dougie,
so.
I think what David is saying, that he and this is kind of a typical entrepreneurial startup. He solved the problem, right?
Yeah.
Tailgating was quite fragmented, right? It's me and you in the back of the back of the truck. Did we show the video of me tailgating? I may have missed that.
We have not yet.
Okay.
Do you want to finish your thought first, or you want to put it up right?
Well,
all right, here we go.
We'll watch while I talk. We'll talk while I watch. So here's my version of tailgating. This is the Giants game, Giants Raiders last week, where the Giants actually won the game. It was incredible. We've got sausage and peppers. I got a bunch of friends in the parking lot. You may recognize some faces. And we have, I know we're throwing the football there in the lot. There we go. See, I got a great shirt. My wife got me that shirt. It says "Tailgates well with others." Great shots there from the game. And I gave someone the camera on the field and said, "Hey, take a picture of us." And that's us there. So, you know, this is kind of the fragmented tailgate, right? This is what everyone's doing. And so David said, you know, look, there's an opportunity to monetize this and make it bigger and take it on the road and have a calendar and have a schedule with it. So this is for everyone listening at home. This is how an incredible idea goes from being a wantrepreneur to being an entrepreneur, where it's not good enough just to say, you know, I have an idea. I go tailgate with my friends, and what if we do something bigger? Here's how you actually take it to the next step. You've got to solve a problem. And now, you know, I think you're right on, David, going forward. The idea of being together, first of all, hanging out, is something that is going to go way up, right? Because we all lost this time where we couldn't be together. And, you know, there's something special about being part of a community, right? So the community is the Giant fans or the Jaguar fans or the Raider fans or whatever kind of fan you are these days. You can't duplicate that at home with just your wife and kids in the, you know, watching on the great TV. You can duplicate the quality of the program, right? Because the TV is incredible. You know, they're all high def now. The sound's great with Bose or Sonos or whatever, surround sound. But the aspect of being with the community of these other fans that are like bleeding blue, that are ready to die for the Giants. So I really like what you said, David, with the concept of you're getting these roadblocks thrown in front of you, right? It's raining out, it's cold, it's winter. Do I really want to go? Well, if you're there with your 100 friends who also love it, and you know you're getting to take your picture with a celebrity, what type of celebrities are we talking about? Who's coming to these games? Are these like local retired players or?
Yeah, so we'll have a different kind of celebrity host for each event. Obviously, you know, the last event was a big one with Brody Jenner, who actually is part of the company from the onset.
Oh, cool.
You know, yeah, but yes, to your point, we'll get a former athlete for, you know, the home team, and typically an away team that's going to drive that traffic if it's a big enough away team. So Paul Pazzucci of the Bills kind of came out, who actually happened to play for the Jags too. And I mean, the list was 120 deep to get an autograph and a pick with him.
And that's all free. That's included. You know, it's part of like,
you pay your $60. You're taking pictures. You could have a drink with him. You do whatever you want.
Do a shot with them.
Yeah.
and not only that, because like you said, it might be raining, your team might be losing, but you've built a community. So not only maybe your friends can't go that week, you're going to make new friends with people, like-minded individuals at this community that you're not going to want to miss the next tailgate, because Linda, John, and Chase are going to be at the next one, and that's your time to hang out with your new friends.
It's kind of like when you make your Orange Theory friends, right? And you're going at 5 or 6 in the morning. You're like, I can't let them down. We gotta go. We gotta go. It's the same concept. Now, do you ever do the party after the game, or is it just before the game?
Yeah, we haven't. We've kind of tested and thought about that. You know, even as an individual, always saying, hey, let's not sit in the traffic and spark up the grill and do, you know, the dogs and the burgers. I mean, obviously the team wants us to somewhat shut it down around kickoff so we can funnel them to the stadium so they can make the money on the concessionaire and stuff. There wasn't enough money to be made to pay the caterer and all that other stuff to do like a 2-hour post game.
It's hard to take it all down and then start it back all up. It's,
Oh, yeah.
I would think that's, I mean, and it's funny you mentioned
Put out a pause.
The last game. Well, so the Raider game I got out of no problem. For some reason, we got real lucky. But the game before I went to, which was the Falcon game, which was Eli Manning retirement day. And my good friend Dr. Mark Burstein drove us home, which was awesome. And we get in the car and it just took forever just to get out. Kind of even in the area that we were in the wrong aisle, and then it was tons of traffic. And I saw people kind of take out the grill and get started up again. I was like, that's a great idea. Why are we sitting here in traffic for an hour and a half? Let's just kick back. We'll have a drink. We'll hang out. We'll relax. Let it die down, so
until 75,000 other people do the same thing. And then you're sitting in traffic at 6:30.
But hey, that's a lot of business for you. 75,000.
Quite an expensive.
I'll not be a room to tent for that.
quite an expensive babysitter. So so that makes sense. You're bringing in the retired players. I get that. There's always a lot of ex-Giants that want to come back and do things. So let's talk about the calendar and the schedule. How many events is this? Do you look at it per calendar year, or do you look at it like for football season year from September to January? What's the calendar and the kind of the global?
Yeah, it's been seasonal, right, with football. So depending on the market we're in, you just take Jacksonville in that partnership, right, and a couple big college games there with Florida, Georgia, and stuff. So which is always fun. So we'll do about 10 events there. And the idea, like we're kind of wrestling, right? So we're maybe trying to get the Vegas Raiders and stuff. Is you kind of want to test the marketplace with maybe 2 or 3 events. A one-off doesn't really do enough, but just to go all in with the new market, and it takes about 9 to 12 months to really launch it. But yeah, we'll do 10 events, and we've still been seasonal. There's so much demand, and my understanding of football that we want to scale that before they're saying do NASCAR, do this, and we've had so many calls in those industries and in sports, but I think taking this to different markets and focusing on the NFL is still kind of the short-term goal. But.
Yeah. Dougie.
So very important thing he said, and I want to shed some light on it. He said, we want to do like 9 or 10. We don't want to just do one off. And that goes in a lot of businesses and a lot of like for example, a podcast. Right. Like you don't want to just do one podcast and be like, how come I don't have like 50,000 subscribers? No, you want to do like 30 podcasts and get your feet wet.
How about 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah. You want to, you can't just do one. We were throwing it. We would do events like for a client. I had a jewelry store client, and we had like these wine Wednesdays, and we did the first one, filled up the store. He didn't sell out of everything, but it was a nice showing. Right. We did a second one. It was all right. So like and after the second one, he was like, oh, no, we're not selling out everything. It's like, dude, we're on number 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to do 30. You got to do 10. You got to like test the market.
I think David is also focusing on, when he makes that comment, tell me if I'm wrong, David, about your sponsors, meaning they need to kind of see an activation across, a certain amount of months and a number of events, right? One event, anybody can just throw together one random thing. They want to see this kind of repeat, keep hitting at it, right?
Well, and I think that's twofold, right? I think brand consistency, right? You want to get in front of those same people and have some sort of retention, right? If you're an alcohol sponsor, just having a unique, glass of wine that they haven't had before sounds great, but drinking that consistently every week, and then you want to get in front of new users, right? And we try to find that hybrid right there.
So your wife Sasha's involved in the Scout and Cellar brand, right? So what does she think? Does she come to the events and do wine tastings?
So yes. So she was at the last event, which was great to have her there. Always tough to get away from the kids. So she'll come in for an event, and she's just been a great supporter of mine. She actually went to UMass as well, and I think without her, I probably wouldn't be an entrepreneur. And she's always pushing me and being tough with me, and obviously sees the scale and the opportunity in both businesses I have. So, always appreciate that. But yeah, she'll come to an event a year.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. I know she's a big supporter of yours, and, I know you're proud of your beautiful family. So, okay, we talked about the tailgate food. We talked about my little tailgate. That was just okay, probably, but we had a great time. Tell us a little bit about the family history, because for me, this is somewhat of a real estate business. Like, my background is sports business plus commercial real estate, but really what you've built here, it's the parking lot part of it really is a real estate business, right? And that comes from your father. So tell us a little bit about the history, if you're comfortable sharing kind of where that came from, and how he got into that and how you got into that.
Yeah, well, he got it right. So you're going 60, 70 years back when my grandfather, we're talking Newark, New Jersey, right? And just owning a couple parking lots by the federal building and the courthouse down there. I don't know how familiar you are with the
Not
geography
the
of Newark.
I did not have to go to the courthouse.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so he just, created a little monopoly there right around kind of the downtown area, which is obviously we didn't have Prudential Center and that stuff back then. But, they did a little mixed use development. I think my father a little bit more, and they started building. I mean, an empire would be way too nice or strong of a word, but, they created, again, a nice monopoly around downtown Newark with a couple competitors, right? Edison Parking was always one of them, Central Parking, right? Which bought out Square and some others. So that was great. I know you kind of asked us offline, what if we were in Jersey City or New York at the time? Again, I don't know if I'd be sitting here. But it's always easier to say, the grass is always greener, right? I think we should be appreciative and grateful for what we've all collectively built. And I wouldn't be here without, kind of their foundation and understanding, the intricacies of the business. And then I kind of scaled my own business, right? Created my own little, parking empire, but and it started with the New Jersey Devils and running that garage there. So, this dated back 70 years.
So. Yeah. So the Prudential, so you're third generation, just like me. That's exciting. So the Prudential Center was a real catalyst and a real kickoff to downtown Newark, and of course the Arts Center. And now there's even, with opportunity zones, there's more projects coming, luxury multifamily. I think there was a Whole Foods project. There's just incredible what's going on. So how active are you still? And I'm asking this because I don't think I really know the answer. How active are you still in that business?
Yeah. I mean, if we were breaking it down, I'd say it's like a 90, really 95.5, GT stuff. I think the business is somewhat self-sufficient and runs itself. I think we had tough times during COVID. I mean, think about so much of our revenue is based on, right, leasing commercial space and number two, events, right? So both of those are kind of shut down and people working at home. How do you pay the lease? You don't. So, but yeah, I'm probably in Newark once to twice a month, and created enough of the staff there that these things kind of do run themselves. And I'm hoping that, GT gets to that point where we can be more macro and I could focus on scale and kind of the investor side and, go into different markets as opposed to the minutia. But hopefully in a few months I'll get there.
I know you always ask me about that. How do we handle that?
Yes. And I'd love to put that question back on you, right? So obviously I have so much respect for what you've built and, we look up to, honestly, and you have so many different things you're kind of working on. So I'd love for my audience, who I think is shared on this, to hear more about that. And then B, how do you differentiate, so your time in a day, how much you focused on scaling the business and the RFP and the bids versus, hey, how do we cut down the cost of a sink, right? And I think that's always important. And where are you delegating, right? So that was kind of three questions in one. So go ahead.
Have at it.
The man has his own podcast already. He's just turned this around to interview me.
Which is a great time to tell everyone at home. So you're probably watching on GTE Presents Instagram live right now. If you want to put a question in the comments section, you guys got to transfer over to the Get Up With Garret YouTube or Facebook a page, and we can actually answer them live. But welcome everyone from the GTE Presents Instagram live.
Welcome. We love having those visitors.
You having head trouble?
No, I think I rolled over my. I rolled it over.
Rolled over.
So I had to,
those are some nice kicks, by the way. They're the Oreo Jordans.
Oreo Jordan 4s.
But I digress.
You can wear them anytime. So look, it's definitely a battle, always about global kind of business development, with always procuring and refining what it is that we do. At the heart of it is relationships, right? It's learning, how do you treat your people? How do you engage with your people? And how do you listen to your people? So for me, in the Salons by JC model, it's part of a corporate franchise, right? So I'm not in the minutia of, how do we get a cheaper sink? We have a company that's doing that, right? We work with Kmark out of Texas, who's one of the largest U.S. manufacturer companies of salon furniture. And so we're constantly letting them come up with new designs and pushing them to, bring to the market things that are sexy and that also cost less money, right? What's the material that they're using? But I would say we're not in the minutia of it. They're on the design and the kind of sourcing of the material. So that's not so much time. Or something like getting a better price on, sheetrock or on a door. We have a GC that's doing that for us. So yeah, we're involved in those conversations and discussing the dollar amount, but we're not taking those meetings per se. But for me, what I'm doing that I find has the best return on my investment is the in-person meeting. So for example, if I connect with a salon prospect that I think is, lights out, has that fire in the belly. Cause I always say that's what you got to have. I'm personally going to go take a phone call with that person, and in many cases meet that in person and spend half hour, an hour. I did it last night at Paramus and had a tour with someone who I thought was going to be awesome. And it's letting them know that, hey, this is a lot more than you just opening up your salon business here. You're now a partner to our family. You're going to be able to get all the tips and secrets that we've learned from 70 plus years of being entrepreneurs and many different types of businesses. And we're going to share that with you, and we're going to laugh with you. We're going to cry with you. We're going to be there and support you. And I think people see that, that genuine kind of approach that we have. And so it's not about every single last dollar in savings on the minutia. It's about how can we support you? And maybe that means not collecting, right now we're running a promo where the rent's like $299 a week, where it should be $450. But for me, I feel like the first 3 months they open, they need help, because if the rent's too high and they don't make it in a year, it doesn't do any good for me. It costs me money. So that's how I try to differentiate. I focus on the relationship value most for me.
Right.
Nice.
Doug, you can jump in and go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just like you said, you're helping them out at the beginning, because what good is it for you if you charge them full price for 3 months and they can't handle it, and you have an empty suite, where you help them out at the beginning and you have the longevity and you can have them forever.
Absolutely. And that's why we've added stuff like, we have the concierge who's there to create a sense of community. She brings in education. We celebrate birthdays. She's doing all the, not social media, but she's doing the planning for this new Up Show slideshow presentation I was talking about earlier. So she'll sit down with each operator and say, look, how do we design, basically a PowerPoint kind of slideshow for you with your photos before and after? What do you want to focus on? So it's that personal engagement, that personal touch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, David's next question is going to be, well, Garrett, if you open up, 20 or 30 salons by JC and you have 1,000 people, can you really sit down personally one-on-one with 1,000 people? And the answer is probably no. No, honestly, probably not. But if I have 100, 200, 300, and I'm doing, one a week and sitting down, or twice a week, I can definitely do that. And so one of the things that I love about what we're doing now is, when you open up in New Jersey, you have to get a shop license and you have to get inspected and an LLC. It's a production a little bit. I actually invite those prospects into our office, and we have a notary, and we sit down and we do the whole package together. So we check off all the boxes, make sure that they've got their license, they've got the application, they have the check. And then I give them a prepaid FedEx envelope. And they can basically send that in to State Board, because I want them to leave that office feeling like, whew, we got something off our chest, and they all feel much better, and they feel that the process has really begun. And I'll continue to do that, because I think it's something that's our difference maker.
So I believe you kind of just answered the question that we just got in the comment section, but I'm going to read it anyway, just to prove that we answer all the questions, right? So Jordan asks, Garrett Bedrin, with your business being New Jersey based, one of several of your salons and properties being located in North Carolina, what tools/technology are you using to stay closely connected to your tenants and stylists one-to-one? How are you keeping them engaged and happy beyond physical engagement, which is still somewhat limited?
Wow, that is the longest question
that's ever. You can't even see us anymore because we're underneath the text.
But
I feel like you kind of touched base upon it. But
I can elaborate.
Have at it.
Well, specifically, in North Carolina and in Palm Beach, Florida, where we have salons, we have on-site managers that are there at least 40 hours a week. So these are people that every day are engaging on our behalf. Okay, so obviously, correct, I can't be there and engage. One of the things that we did when COVID was starting to hit early on, I went on Facebook Live with them. We have like a private Facebook group. So here's I think the technology part of Jordan's question. And it's a community on there where everyone can, what's new, what's going on, share different events, whatever. And I recorded a video one-on-one facing the camera. And I said, look, if you don't feel comfortable coming to work because you have a child at home, you have a grandmother at home, whatever it may be, and you do not have to come to work and you do not have to pay me rent. Now, that was huge because I wanted them to feel like they don't have to make a decision between being healthy and their livelihood, right? No one should have to do that. And I thought that came off, really transparent. I felt great about it. obviously ended up losing a lot of money because of that, but that was okay. That was the right thing to do. So I think that face-to-face communication using Facebook was a way to let people know that we're not just a business. There's a real human here, and Michael, my cousin, we're humans. We laugh, we cry. We have good days, we have bad days too. So, we get it. And then I think the other thing that we do is we try to celebrate like the birthdays and all those fun relationships. And so the manager can get a little gift and they'll have a little party and then we'll post it on social media and we'll share it. And they see that. And then they'll text me, "Oh, Garret, that was so nice you guys to think about us." So I know that's working in that regard. I think that covers George's question.
No,
yeah.
Great job. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Keep the questions coming,
yeah,
guys.
no, that's fantastic. Appreciate
we
the
are
engagement.
interactive. Yeah,
we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Now, David, question for you. One of the things we do on our show is called the reverse resume. And I was blown away by a presentation by a Navy SEAL friend who talked about, look, everybody puts out their resume and it's going to be all the highlights and it's all great. Nobody puts anything bad in their resume, right? So what I always want to do when I have a guest on the show, and I've done this for myself, talking about how we spent $13 million and totally 3 lawsuits and screwed up a project for 13 years in Hawthorne, which finally got turned around. But what I ask everybody is, give me a situation, David, where something didn't go right. You totally screwed something up. You were totally wrong on something. Take the fluff off the resume on something for me, and let's talk about what it was and how do we fix it, or how did you fix it?
Right. Yeah, and I think it'd be wrong or silly for me to just pick one. Right. I think I make mistakes every day. I think I do that more than the successes, and I actually think that breeds success. Right. I think the more mistakes you make that you can learn and adjust from are important. And I mean, it's tough to just kind of pick one. But I think, I guess on the game day side, right, early on, it's probably going too big too fast and thinking too much of a national scale as opposed to hyper focusing and proving concept in a specific market. But again, for anybody watching, I think, just be smart, be diligent, try to be funded early, prove that concept and then grow from there, as opposed to thinking you have it all figured out early. And I think the ability to own your mistakes and not point the fingers and look in the mirror and say, here's what I may have done wrong and learn from it, I think is really just a key to success. So
you gotta look in the mirror. Yeah. I always say,
and say I'm sorry 3 times, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, I have 2 things I say to people. If you're getting married, I have 2 advice. Number 1 is plan the marriage, not the wedding. Okay. Because everybody falls too much into this category of, I want to have the most amazing wedding. I want to have the most amazing honeymoon. And they get carried away and they forget about what are the details of the marriage, right? Where do you want to live? Do you want to have kids? How do you are going to raise your kids religious wise? What are your political views? How do you feel about retiring in 20 years somewhere? What kind of house do you want to live in? Like, do you want to work? Do you want to stay from home if you have kids? All that stuff, right? People forget that. And that is what's important, not about the actual party, because sometimes the sizzle dies, right? And then number 2 is say I'm sorry 3 times every morning for what I don't know, but just do it.
The sparklers and the fireworks will fade away.
That's true.
Which we had plenty of.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So last kind of question or 2. What do you think about some of this like virtual stuff and the metaverse? Facebook has now changed their corporate name to Meta. Disney is even talking about doing some stuff in the metaverse. You're hearing it a lot on different business shows. Do you envision a day where you could create a virtual tailgate where you're kind of at home or you're in your garage and you're connected with everyone? And then also, I think part 2 of that is, what are your thoughts on, with the parking lot background, autonomous driving and the future of, will there even be parking lots for something like a Devils game if an autonomous car is going to come pick you up and drop you off and you're not going to park?
Right. Yeah. So I guess on the first part, we wrestled the idea of these virtual tailgates and how to get some big sponsors, and maybe you're doing like home deliveries, right? And Pepsi's delivering X. Obviously on the liquor side, you have a boatload of legal kind of issues and barriers to cross there. I still think there's too much, appetite for the user from an in-game experience angle that, like, I just don't know how you capture that long-term in some sort of virtual component. On the parking side, yeah, I mean, I guess it scared my father and I, obviously we saw it, during COVID, then we saw it pre-COVID, right? And, mass transit was always a competitor of ours, right? People just taking the path or from the city, right? They're not parking in my lots, right? That does nothing for me. I do own a valet service as well. So when you talk about, smart cars or whatever's out there, the valet parking, and I think we spoke about this with the salons. I think that, that extra amenity and value adds always going to maybe be there for that, high-end clientele. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty nervous about different means of travel that are going to evolve with the technology, which I'm not even too well versed in yet, and what that's going to do to. I think I have more short-term issues to worry about than that right now. But I think that's a phenomenal question, and I guess time will tell.
Good.
I'm very impressed with that question, Gary. That was a great question, because they're already selling real estate in the metaverse.
They are.
So we might need to get an arena for the virtual tailgates. That's
definitely-
next. I'm always thinking next level, always thinking when's the next
Definitely.
platform. So I like that question.
So, hey, we got something real special. We've had some great people that have asked questions and come on the show. And one of our first guests, our very first guest on the show, actually has clicked the link and wants to surprise our friend David Lenter.
Absolutely.
Broker Bergs, are you there, Broker Bergs? Can you hear us?
Surprise, David.
Oh, wow. What do we owe this honor to? Look at that.
Alex Tan, our first guest ever on the Get Up With Garret show, is back. Hey, Marm, have you ever been to one of these crazy parties? Have you been to one of these tailgates?
No, he keeps begging me to come.
He keeps begging you to come?
Wow.
I'm going to be there for sure. But I can tell you this. That Falcons game that you guys were tailgating at, David and I were tailgating at it together, probably a little differently than you were.
True story. The tailgate that I just went to may have included fireball shots. May have.
Was it open bar? Or did you charge the users?
I think we had some beer. We had some these like limeade drinks. Someone made like some sparkling limeade with vodka. And then, of course, we had the sausage and peppers. And then somebody brought, unnamed, a half-eaten Wegmans cookie cake, which, I don't know. Is that a faux pas? Do you really bring something half-eaten from home? I ate it. I liked it.
By the way, Fireball, you don't hear of them much anymore in the whiskey space, right? I mean, it was so delicious.
Died down a little bit.
Right?
What's your drink of choice?
All. But
nice.
I'm a big vodka guy, so
Nice.
maybe like a Grey Goose soda with a lime.
Nice.
Yeah.
But if we're doing a shooter, so like my thing right now is Jack Honey.
Jack Honey.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it goes
Very
down
nice.
smooth, puts a little skin on it, puts a little hair on your chest. Yeah.
I
And
like Jack
Marm,
minus the honey.
What do you like? Jack
I
what?
drink anything. I'm like David. We drink anything. in our vicinity.
So just tell us real quick. Can you give us a quick update on kind of the real estate market from when we spoke? Probably 3 months ago. Have things cooled down a little bit? Or are you still getting crazy above ass offers? Like you got 30 grand over ask for me?
Yeah, depending on where we are in the market, price point, we're still seeing a lot of people coming in above asking. I mean, I even had a buyer in Upper Saddle River on a property that just went on the market that was 265 that went over asking with multiple bids. So even if the house is compelling and it's beautiful and it's priced right, there's still not enough supply out there for all the demand.
Wow. And what about the virtual stuff? Are some of your clients asking to do, continue with the virtual tours, or maybe do the meta, the goggles we were just talking about, the virtual reality, or has it transitioned now where like everyone feels comfortable coming on a tour in person, seeing the open house and actually showing up?
Yeah, it's case by case basis. I have some clients who don't live in the area and ask me to virtually show them the homes. I just do basically FaceTime at this point. But the meta walkthroughs of virtual reality, we are able with our properties. If you have Oculus, you can watch it and walk through it basically with Matterport. So we've been doing that for well over a year and a half, 2 years already.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But the funny thing is, I gotta mention this, okay? I know I don't want to take over your show here, but one of the things that I really love about David's business, and it didn't get touched on here, but the marketing side of his business, and what I think is his special sauce here is he is marketing to the visiting team, right? So if you're from Denver and you're going to Jacksonville, he's marketing to the people in Denver, basically saying, come to this tailgate party because they don't have family and friends there. So they are coming and hanging out with the celebrity, eating food and drinking as a visiting guest. And I think that's a special thing. And I think that's really what will separate him from other people.
That's incredible. So I really appreciate that. So what you're saying is that when you're going to a visiting game, right, you're void of that local community that you're used to, your local tailgate group. And so now to bring this together and say, hey, we're the 1,000 Jacksonville Jaguar fans that are traveling to, Denver. You've got a local community. You've got a place to come before the game, a place to be loved, a place to celebrate the team. And that's your secret sauce. That's incredible, Marm, that you picked up on that. I appreciate that very much.
And they're not bringing their stuff on the plane, right? Is what he's touching on, right? It's just seamless, so.
We do have another live question here.
You got it.
From Mark. Question for David. What is the current drink of choice at the tailgates? Is it predominantly beer or has it changed? How do you stock up for that?
Yeah, I think, beer is always, kind of the number one consumed product, right? In some sort of tailgate, themed event space. If you're going on the spirit side, it's vodka. We have a couple of different vodka vendors there as well. And as far as stock, right, when you pay the caterer, you're paying for open bar. So the idea is to stock up on enough where they have their own ratio and math in mind where they're not going to run out, how many drinks per user. So.
Great.
What about the giveaway business? Are you doing, T-shirts, cups, presents? Yeah. Are there things that they walk away with, a goodie bag that my wife can make or anything like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's talk about that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the sponsors are giving away something to brand themselves, right? So they're leaving with something tangible, a wristband or something. We do have the whole philanthropic component, which I think is important. I know you do some of that as well. That part of our auction, we're giving back to charity, whether it's American Cancer Society, now it's Hunger Fight. That's always desirable for a user to know that we're trying to always just give back to people a percentage of a ticket that comes through a link. But yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to get a little better at, what could they walk away with that's also GTE branded, but we want to give the sponsors that opportunity to say, hey, I got this great, Bud Light hat or whatever it is.
I appreciate you mentioning that. And actually, Ryan and I want to talk to you offline about something with the Jewish Home, which is the incredible organization that we're both a part of. And he just went to the big kickoff of the new rehab center, the big party. And that's an organization that is near and dear to our hearts. So we'll talk about that later if there's something that we can come up with.
Definitely think swag is going to make a comeback.
Yeah.
Yes. My father's in the liquor business. There's like 2 liquor distributors in New Jersey. So you can only get Grey Goose from his company. You can only get some other stuff from the other company, right? Sure. And growing up, they would have bicycles, dartboards, T-shirts, hats. Like growing up, you name it, they had their liquor, their Crown Royal, Finlandia, like you name it. Then it kind of died down for a long period of time. I think it's going to start making a huge comeback. Swag, T-shirts, hats, keychains.
We had BMW was a sponsor of the Jewish Home golf event last year, and I'm pissed. I lost the towel. Like it was so cool. It was a nice golf towel, this beautiful black kind of BMW towel. They had the car there. It was gorgeous. See? Now I know who stole my towel.
See,
Marm stole my towel,
man. People like the swag.
You can sign it up on eBay.
Yeah. I see one of my good buddies, Nick Bischoff, threw up a comment about the GSW gear.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for hooking it up with the VIP GSW courtside club gear from a couple years ago. I still love this sweater, obviously.
I had a friend grew up in high school with whatever. He came to check out the studio. And the first story, he's like, you remember the days when we had the Summer League baseball team and your father gave us all the Bacardi Limon jerseys? There was like these yellow penny jerseys. Like people remember this stuff, man. The swag's coming back.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of swag, we have our merch line, but I know Ryan over here was talking about coming up with some swag for his business that would just get out in the community. And I think it's very advantageous, especially in his industry, right?
Ryan, you want to talk about that? You've launched. I mean, I know we don't have it available. I apologize, but you did launch a logo for Broker Bergs, and kind of what's your thought process with where you're going with that?
Yeah, I didn't really have a thought process. I mean.
At least he's honest.
No, I wanted to. It's part of my social media content push. Just like wearing swag, if you're not socially and culturally relevant right now, you're losing, man. Like you have to be out there continually putting content to be relevant. Whether it's funny, whatever's on brand for you, you have to go hard and you have to be consistent. Like you said before, one time out of the box, you're not going to sell 1,000 T-shirts. But if you're consistently pushing content and doing whatever you do, whatever you're selling, if you're consistent, I think it'll come. So the logos and stuff, that's just part of a branding with Broker Bergs and Bergman County that I think, I created those hashtags years ago. I never used, and I said, finally, let me put that in the game. So that's
funny. You actually created that stuff, but you probably, I'm just being honest, you probably didn't really know how you're going to use it, right? The application of it. And now that has kind of changed more. It's become a lot more mainstream. By the way, Marm, what do you think of my logo down there? You see that sucker?
I love it. You did that, right?
But hang on, Dougie made it with Undefeated Media, but you actually have like Broker Berg sewn into your sport jacket, right?
I do. I did that. Wrong? I made that years ago. I have Broker Bergs in some of mine, and I have Bergman County in some of mine, just for like shits and giggles. And I did it. I mean, I'm trying to live that lifestyle. Like you have to believe.
That's all in. No, you're all in. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
There's one secret sauce factor you all need to pay attention to and know about.
What's the next big
this
thing?
Device?
Yep.
They choose what they want to consume. They choose what they scroll to. If you're constantly just saying like, come to my restaurant, buy a house for me. If you're not, you have to provide value. You have to be entertaining. You have to give them something because they have the choice to just swipe to the next post. It's not television where they have to sit there during a commercial. So like, you want to use the tools the right way and you want to make sure you're providing some type of value to make them come back for more. You're giving great information right now. It's a great interview. We're learning a lot about a lot of things today.
And it's all free.
All free.
This is the give back. This is the great American give back. Right?
Exactly.
That reminds me of the number 3 thing I want to tell people who are getting married.
Okay.
Be interested and be interesting.
Okay. Profound.
Okay. Very profound. That's the 3rd thing I forgot.
Profound. Very profound.
It's not too late. You just got married, so you can still apply all of
Thank you.
all of these things. So I want to switch to the NFL picks now. And Marm, you can hang with us if you want while we do that. You're welcome to make your picks too. I've been doing pretty good with the Giants. They definitely beat the Raiders. That was something that I picked, plus 2.5. So let's look at this week coming up. We're about halfway through the NFL season. And I should have asked David, the fact that they added an extra game this year, that's like free money, manna from heaven just coming down for you. You get an extra potential home game or away game. So the first game is we've got the Arizona Cardinals. It's a home game. They're giving 10.5 to the Carolina Panthers. Dougie, what do you say on that one? 10.5.
Who's giving who? Say the teams again.
The Cardinals.
The Cardinals
are giving 10.5 to the Carolina Panthers.
I'm taking Cardinals.
All right, I'm going to take the Cardinals also. David, what about you? What do you think?
Carolina.
David's taking Carolina. Marm, what do you think?
I'll go Panthers.
Okay, wow. Look at these two. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget. Although I guess it is recorded. I don't know about, I'll be honest, I don't know about Kyler Murray yet and Hopkins. They both missed last game. But I definitely think that Sam Darnold is having issues and physically and mentally. Let's go with the Broncos. Aren't we all? Game 2, Marm, is the Broncos. They're giving 2.5 to those dirty, filthy, disgusting Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said before, being an Eagles fan is like not taking a shower. So basically, the Broncos are giving 2.5. It's in Denver. They can barely breathe there. You got to wear the oxygen mask. What do you think, Dougie?
Broncos for sure. I'm surprised it's only 2 points.
2.5, Dougie.
2.5. Yeah.
David?
Yeah, I think Denver as well.
Denver. Okay, Marm?
Denver.
All right, we're all with Denver. We're all going that way. We'll all be together on that one. Last game, we've got those I was going to say Oakland. I do this every time. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to do that deep Raiders voice.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. I watched a really cool documentary. I have no idea what it was on. It was on YouTube, which is like a big black hole. You just go down and keep going on YouTube things. I don't know if NFL Films put it out or who put it out, but it was like 24 hours before the first Raider game. In Allegiant Stadium when they had fans. Obviously last year, no fans. It was pretty cool to see the whole production, the video, audio, video, the cheerleaders, all the food, everything. Anyway, so we've got the Raiders who have just had a tumultuous season, just crazy what's been going on with them. And they are getting 2.5 at home in Las Vegas to the Kansas City Chiefs. What is going on? This is a different Chiefs team than the last 2 years.
Yes.
Right? The defense is horrible. The Giants should have won that game.
Yes.
Not coulda, woulda, but shoulda won that game.
Yep.
And Mahomes, I think, leads the league in interceptions.
It was like one offsides call. They would have had that game.
Like, you give the guy $500 million, and this is what he repays you with?
Yeah.
So what do you think here? Raiders getting 2.5 at home. Are the Chiefs surging? Have they turned it around? Or is this the new Chiefs?
I'm starting it off.
Go, Dougie.
I'm going with Raiders.
Raiders, okay.
Yeah.
At home getting 2.5.
I'm surprised it's only 2.5 points, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm going Raiders.
What about you, David?
Kansas City, 100%.
Kansas City for David. Marm, finish this up.
Absolutely. The Chiefs. And by the way, somebody, the owner, what's it, Mark Davis? Is it Mark Davis?
Yes.
He needs to go to Salons by JC because his hair is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my God. Mark Davis, come on in, babe. Anytime. We'd love to have you. He's got that bowl haircut like from Dumb and Dumber. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs to chip his tooth. He'll just be like,
and supposedly in this documentary thing I watched, he was very picky about his luxury suite, and everything had to be perfect to the black, white, and gray look. Jeff Krentzman says, give me the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs too, Jeff. I think this is kind of the turnaround.
Man. Nah, I don't know, man.
I agree. I want to get you together with Jeff Krentzman also because I think that your customer is someone who definitely enjoys a barbecue experience, a tailgate experience, and Jeff's company cleans grills for a living. So there could be an opportunity there. All right, let's say goodbye to our friend Marm. Thanks for popping in and surprising us.
Yeah,
good to see you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you, bud.
Join up later, guys.
Later. And we're going to transition now to the lightning round. So get your music ready, Dougie.
Oh, we're ready.
These are the 4 questions that we ask all our guests on the Get Up With Garret show. And have fun with it. Take it lightly. You don't have to overthink it. Kind of the first kind of answer that comes to your head. Dougie, tell me when we're ready.
We are ready.
Okay. David, what's a famous business book that you'd recommend to entrepreneurs?
I'd read the newspaper.
Okay.
Said not to overthink it.
Yeah. Who would you trust to take you to outer space? Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, or Elon Musk?
Elon Musk.
Okay. First concert, best concert?
Dave Matthews.
If you had a vanity plate on your car, what would it be?
Well, if this is the last question, like early in the show, I'm going to spin it on you. I like that. I got to turn it around here.
Mine would say Get Up W Garret. If I could fit that many.
Wow. Can you fit that many on?
I probably get 7. That's probably too many.
I'd say D Lents.
D Lents?
Yeah.
All right. Actually, the real last question is, what's a goal that you want me to remind you of in a year?
Make sure that, come January, everybody does these New Year's resolutions. I'm probably running out of time here. And mine is to kind of debrief, think about everything and try to get back into some sort of motivational speaking and help people out and do that, on a daily basis where I'm thinking of others and not so much myself. So in a year, come back to me and say, what have I done differently in 22 than 21, where I'm helping other people out more than just myself. Not
Awesome.
that I don't, but to do it a little bit more.
I love it. I always say to my kids and to Jessica, and of course to the audience, the more you give, the more you get. And I believe that deeply, and you can turn the music off.
All right, just making sure.
I like it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's on a loop. There's an infinity time.
Anyway, so that's it. That's our show today. And I want to give a big thank you to David Lenter from Game Day Tailgate Experience. You can check him out at GTE Presents on the Instagram.
Yep.
You can check out the webpage later. There you go. Reach out to David if you want to connect for business, or certainly he'd be happy to sell you a $60 to $100 tailgate party ticket.
That's a good range.
Yeah, right. Somewhere
It's
in
a
there.
great value.
I think it's an incredible
Yeah.
value. I know next time I want to come to an event, David's going to probably charge me $300 because he understands that I really appreciate the value.
100%.
And really appreciate everybody tuning in to the show today. And if you miss anything, you can definitely watch it back on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for getting up.
And if they have any questions,
You can email the show.
There you go.
Send us an email.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Make sure to kill it. We'll see you later.